What's up, guys? Barry Game here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today, well, we're going to be addressing something I've seen a lot of people talking about lately, and I feel like it's bleeding over from other games, and they've been asking, what is the Idle Heroes current meta? Well, we all know Lord of Fear Aspen is the go-to hero, but it's not as easy as just saying, yeah, these are the good heroes in the game, because this game is about team building, account building, driving towards a goal with singular heroes, with heroes that do well to support and complement your team. So we're gonna go over the overall meta in Idle Heroes for pretty much like the mid to late game player. End game, that's a whole nother ball game, but if we're talking about, you know, anywhere between 3 and even 7 or 8 Transcendence heroes, this is gonna help you guys out. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree with anything we say about here today. Let's get a dialogue going and a conversation with the community. Let's get going. So there's a couple topics we're going to cover in this video. The first being, who are the meta heroes? We're going to follow that up with team building in the meta. Following that up with, have there been any changes in the meta? And finally talking about what is the meta for artifacts and for cores of origin. So first off, we have to say there's one undoubtedly, we're actually going to hide the skin too, just so you can see the hero itself. There's one undoubtedly best hero in the game, just straight up best hero in the most game modes. That is Lord of Fear Aspen, and there's a really big reason for this in case you guys already don't understand, and it really comes down to, once you get your second Transcendence hero, swapping to him being your main power source is absolutely amazing. Why is that? Because, well, he has some of the best tenets in the game for supporters. He has no he has one priest, which, you know, it's not the most optimal, but the priest that he does have, Phantom Defier Lena, an amazing support hero to build third. Scarlet Queen Halora, undoubtedly one of the best damage boosting support heroes in the game. You're going to use these two heroes all the way through the end game, so they're never not useful to your account, so you can invest a ton of power, even Destiny transition down the road, and it really helps out. And then he has two warriors for his other tenants. So as far as tenants go, there really are no other better pairs, because you got other ones where it's like, well, maybe Lord of Sparkles can be good. Then you got G-Ster. That's a big miss on a hero. Even someone like you know, Therapist Blood Betty, they have really bad support heroes for Transcendence. They got Azrael, they got Arania. I mean, it's not great, it's not horrible. Anyone that has like G-Ster, it just feels bad. And you can see there's just no other hero that compares besides the potential of Doom Terminator Vulcan. Vulcan has Eos and Natalia, two decent support heroes, although not as good as Lord of Fear Aspen. But there's a big difference, because the two meta heroes, in my opinion, are Lord of Fear Aspen and Doom Terminator Vulcan. What Lord of Fear Aspen has over Doom Terminator Vulcan is the early game in the Void campaign. The early chapters are going to be much simpler to accomplish, and beyond that, the Void invasion bosses are just dominated by Lord of Fear Aspen. Doom Terminator Vulcan accounts that I've seen do struggle in comparison, so that is something to keep your eye out on, because you want to kill the boss in these waves first and foremost, like immediately, and then you can work on all the other minions. Whereas Doom Terminator Vulcan, well, he kind of hits everybody at the same time, so not nearly as good. As you do transition further into the end game, the only other meta hero I really want to talk about is Therapist of Blood Betty, and that is because once you can get her with a core of origin, giving her additional chances to blood binding twine enemies, she undoubtedly becomes the best crowd control hero in the game. Just absolutely amazing. So but she is a hero you want to build after you get your Lord of Fear Aspen's core of origin up to noble. Then you can start working on hers, in my opinion. That's where I think the best way of kind of doing it. However, there is also another strategy in the meta, which is what I'm kind of doing, where I actually invested in our cores of origin on both Phantom Defier Lena and Scarlet Queen Halora as well, so that I could put Destiny transition on them, giving our Lord of Fear Aspen even more attack value from his home. So that's really important to talk about. But as far as the most meta heroes in the game right now, those are them. Now, the second part of this kind of segues nicely to what we've already been talking about as far as the meta heroes, and that is building a proper team on your account. The proper team pretty much consists of what you see at the top of this list here. For the most part, Lord of Fear Aspen is going to be your main damage dealer. You can have a secondary damage dealer on your account, either a Doom Terminator Vulcan, or honestly, you could even go for something like a Star Swordsman Machman. However, Machman's kind of dropped off recently in popularity, especially since Doom Terminator Vulcan's been around. They both do a very similar job. However, Machman does more burst damage in the first round. However, most people's accounts, you're going to want to focus on one damage dealer and then everybody else support. We already talked about why we pick Phantom Defier Lena and Scarlet Queen Halora as support heroes, because they directly can be buffed up with stats, and then those stats will get transitioned over to our main damage dealer, Lord of Fear Aspen. So all those things are good. We also discussed why Therapist of Blood Betty can be such a good support hero, but there's a couple we didn't talk about that help in this team building. One of them is Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok, and that is because he provides a ton of shielding to your team, equal to basically doubling their HP values. Whenever an ally blocks a successful attack, grants the ally shield equal to 860% attack and elegance, which is also a skill effect, increases all self-damage reduction by 15%, and then restores HP when that shield does break. Of course, it can get some modifiers when you do sublime him. He's not a hero you need to sublime or do anything with right away. Even just unlocking the base version of Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok will help the survivability on your team. I think just about everybody needs this hero on their account. Now, the next one isn't a must-have. However, you guys have seen on our account, Doppelganger Natalia does some amazing things, mainly because she will be buffing up your Lord of Fear Aspen with tons of extra attack, holy damage, damage reduction, and crit damage just by being the only other hero on the battlefield. Beyond that, her basic attack is going to give him additional buffs and give him a gigantic shield, even when it's just Natalia and him left. Natalia is one of the tankiest heroes in the game. So you'll notice, even if she's not anywhere near your strongest hero, she might live even longer than some of your support heroes when it comes to combat and battles. The only other one I want to mention out of all these here is one that you must have on your account. However, you don't need to level her up too far, but she is most definitely a meta hero. You basically want to get Mystic Fairy Freya up to what's it, level 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, I believe, to unlock the Pistol of Stars. Mainly because this 3 layers of evolutionary factor at the end of each round increases the damage dealt by self to poison targets. Once you sublime her all the way, she also grants 33% of that effect to all allies, which means using the snake or having her go before the Lord of Fear Aspen in the order means that they're going to do even more damage. She is more specifically used to kind of counter and go up against bosses. However, she also has the ability here to give chances to dodge enemy attacks. So between Freya and a Phantom Defier Lena, you actually can avoid a lot of incoming damage just by simply dodging it and not having to deal with it. There are some other heroes we have on our account like Lord of Sparkles. These are fun ones. Some other ones are more or less just tenants. As far as the core meta of the team, that's pretty much what you're running though. So the last 2 parts kind of go hand in hand. Number 1 is going to be what are the best artifacts to go for on your account. And number 2, what has changed in the meta? Well, if we actually just talk about artifacts in general, we can take a look at one of our newest chests here. These are all the pay-to-win artifacts that are at your disposal. You'll notice there's commonalities that a lot of accounts have. You have a bunch of Splendid Golden Crowns for increased damage reduction. You have other accounts that are older that have a bunch of demon bells at Splendid. What those are basically going to let you do is feed a ton of energy into your main heroes and be super tanky. There are, however, a few you want to keep your eye out on. If you are running a Lord of Fear Aspen, a Melodic Strength can be really great if you're trying to end combat within the first few rounds, getting some really big active skills off. It can be a huge help. One of the oldest artifacts in game, Antler's Cane, does something similar. However, this one is for if you're going past like round 6 or 7, you choose Antler's Cane over Melodic Strength. So if you're going for long combat, Antler's Cane will reign supreme. If you're going for very quick, short combat rounds, melodic strings is the way. If you're going Lord of Fear Aspen and you want to get your Aspen dungeon really cleared out, Rui Scepter is by far one of the best things out there, because even though his fear effect isn't a hard CC, if you do have him sublimed out and you do apply fear on the enemies, it's also going to drain their energy, keeping them from using any attacks, which can be very, very strong. A couple of the newest artifacts down here are interesting. Gilded Purple Fan is kind of like a hand-in-hand substitute for Golden Crown. They do a very similar job. However, Gilded Purple Fan is better for heroes that either need some regeneration every round, because even if you lose your shield every round, you'll regenerate 30% of a shield every single round when it ends, or if you're just a hero that provides shields to themselves, this can be even better. The kind of substitute for Demon Bell right now is the Elusive Mirror. However, you can't go all in on Elusive Mirrors. You still need some Demon Bells in order to keep a proper energy feed run going. Typically what you see now is 3 Demon Bells with 2 Elusive Mirrors, and that on average will give you a perfect energy feed, because of course Elusive Mirror gives energy at the end of the round. It also provides some all damage dealt and some control immunity and such, so it's not too bad. It spreads it to the team. The advantage of this one is it does include speed. They both give energy, they both give HP. This one gives speed, which might help your support heroes outspeed your Lord of Fear Aspen, such as Mystic Fairy Freya, if you want to apply poison before he attacks to make sure he's doing the maximum amount of damage. Now, the other thing that's here, this one can be good for, is Therapist of Blood Betty. Why is that? Well, whenever her passive goes off, when she gets 100 energy, that is going to do a crowd control effect. And then if you have her Core of Origin, it's going to be a doubly CC type of effect. What Elusive Mirror does is it gives that 15 energy actually at the beginning of the next round. So if she's already at 85 to 100 energy, this is instantly going to give her more energy and proc that CC at the beginning of the round before any enemies or allies attack, which is really, really neat. The only other newest one right now, and kind of changed the meta, which kind of but not really, is Auspicious Lucky Cat. I've got 4 of them so far. They're really unique. I kind of want to get to the point where we have 6 of these on an account. It has all damage reduction, HP, and control immunity, so a very defensive artifact. And then beyond that, you can get gold and silver ingots on your team. The gold ones can go up to 30, and it gives up to 90% total all damage dealt, which is pretty significant. Whereas the silver ingots, basically you can get an Augustus Magic Ball type effect, where you're basically reducing incoming damage by a percentage of your hero's attack. That's what this does, and this one goes up to what? 300, like 450%. So it technically can almost double an Augustus Magic Ball. However, it does take time to line up. This was a nerf from the original version that came out. Previously, it was just at the beginning of the round, it all triggered, so it's even good in round 1. Now it sucks for round 1, because if the enemy is going before you, you have to wait until the heroes that have these artifacts use a basic or active skill. So that's the only downside there. However, that's pretty much the current meta, and if anything shakes it up or changes it, we will update you with another video. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. If you had success with any other things in the meta, leave a comment down below. Make sure you guys take 1 second, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.